The United Earth Defense Fleet waited silently at the edge of Jupiter's orbit. 20 massive warships formed a perfect crescent formation against the backdrop of swirling gas clouds. Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of the UES Resilience, her hands clasped behind her back as she studied the main view screen. "Signal from long-range sensors, Admiral," reported Officer Moon from his station. "Multiple vessels approaching from Sector 7. Admiral Kim nodded calmly. "Identify." "Unknown configuration, ma'am. Not matching any known signatures in our database." The bridge crew worked efficiently as tension filled the air. This was humanity's first encounter with an alien fleet, though scientists had long confirmed the existence of intelligent life beyond Earth. "They're coming in fast," said Tactical Officer Bay. 53 ship, no, 67, still counting." Admiral Kim's expression remained neutral. "Defensive posture only. All weapons systems on standby. Let's not appear hostile." The alien fleet emerged from behind Io, Jupiter's volcanic moon. Their ships were enormous, dwarfing even the largest human vessels. They gleamed with a metallic blue-green shine that reminded Kim of abalone shells. "They're surrounding us," whispered Navigator Ryu. The alien ships moved with precision, forming a sphere around the human fleet. "Still no aggressive moves," noted Officer Bay. "But they've positioned themselves to cut off our retreat paths." "Admiral." Kim straightened her uniform. "Open communications on all frequencies. Let's introduce ourselves." Communications Officer Park worked his console. "Channel open, Admiral. This is Admiral Kim of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We greet you in peace and friendship." The main screen flickered, then displayed the interior of the alien vessel. A tall figure moved forward. It had iridescent blue scales covering its body, and 4 arms folded across its chest. Elaborate armor adorned its torso, and a ridge of what looked like crystalline spines ran from its head down its back. "Humans." The alien spoke in perfect English, its voice deep and resonant. "I am High Commander Du of the Valturi Dominion. Your presence has been noted, and your assessment is complete." Admiral Kim raised an eyebrow. "Assessment? Your species has reached a minimum level of technological development. You now qualify for incorporation into our empire." "High Commander." Du made a dismissive gesture with one of his lower arms. "Your surrender will be processed efficiently. Prepare your leaders for transition of authority." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. Admiral Kim stepped forward. "I believe there's been a misunderstanding. We have no intention of surrendering." The alien's face contorted into what might have been amusement. "Perhaps I was unclear. This is not a negotiation." The view screen expanded to show hundreds more ships appearing behind the first wave. "The Valturi Dominion spans 27 star systems. We have conquered species far more advanced than yours." High Commander Du continued, his voice growing more theatrical. "Our weapons can reduce your homeworld to ash. Our warriors are bred for combat across 1,000 generations. Your primitive fleet would not last 5 minutes against even our smallest attack squadron." He raised all 4 arms dramatically. "Surrender now and your species will serve as laborers. Resist and we will make examples of your major cities before enslaving your survivors." The alien commander finished his speech and stood tall, clearly, expecting immediate capitulation. Admiral Kim glanced around the bridge. Officer Jin was covering her mouth. Lieutenant Kang was biting his lip. Even the normally serious Officer Bay was struggling to maintain composure. Then Navigator Ryu snorted, a small sound that broke the dam. A wave of laughter rolled across the bridge, starting as chuckles and growing into full-blown hilarity. The alien commander's expression shifted to one of confusion. "You laugh? At your imminent conquest?" Admiral Kim, fighting her own smile, held up a hand to quiet her crew. "I apologize, High Commander. It's just that, well, your presentation was quite dramatic." "You mock the might of the Valturi?" Du's voice rose with indignation. "Not at all," replied Kim. "But where we come from, actions speak louder than threats. Humans have a long history of facing supposed superiors and finding that reality rarely matches the intimidation." She stepped closer to the screen. "If you truly wish to conquer us, you're welcome to try. But I suggest an alternative. Diplomatic relations between equals. We have much to offer each other through peaceful exchange. High Commander Du stared, in disbelief. His lower jaw opened and closed several times before he found words. This is unprecedented. You should be terrified. We've faced extinction many times throughout our history, Kim said simply. Threats don't frighten us as much as they once did. The alien commander turned to consult with his officers off-screen. When he returned, his demeanor had changed. We will consider your unusual response, expect further communication. The screen went dark. On the Resilience's bridge, Officer Moon checked his readings. They're withdrawing to a position near Europa, Admiral. Admiral Kim nodded. It seems our laughter was the last thing they expected. She turned to her first officer. I want all information we can gather on their ships and prepare a full report for Earth Command. Something tells me this encounter is just beginning. Intelligence Officer Choi rarely left his workstation on the lower deck of the UES Resilience. For 3 days, he analyzed every piece of data from the Valturi ships. He studied their communication patterns, power signatures, and ship movements. His eyes burned from lack of sleep, but he couldn't stop. Something about the aliens didn't make sense. Admiral, I need to speak with you, Choi said, entering the command bridge with a tablet in hand. It's important. Admiral Kim nodded and led him to her private office. What have you found? The Valturi aren't what they claim to be. Choi placed his tablet on the desk. I've analyzed their weapon systems. They have impressive technology, but there's something odd. Their weapons show almost no signs of use. Explain, said Admiral Kim, leaning forward. New weapons leave specific energy signatures when fired. These readings suggest their main cannons have barely been used. Choi pulled up more data. And there's more. I've decoded some of their transmissions. The Valturi have conquered 12 star systems, but not through warfare. Admiral Kim's eyes widened. Then how? Every species they've encountered surrendered immediately after their intimidation displays. They've never actually fought a war. Choi looked up from his tablet. They're bullies who've never been stood up to. Admiral Kim called an emergency meeting with her senior staff. The officers gathered around the conference table as Choi explained his findings. So their entire empire is built on fear? Asked Officer Jin. It appears so, replied Choi. Their ships are powerful, but their crews lack combat experience. A slow smile spread across Admiral Kim's face. Then we already have the advantage. They don't know what to do with an enemy who laughs instead of trembling. The room fell silent as everyone considered this information. Finally, Tactical Officer Bay spoke up. We should use this. If fear is their weapon, laughter can be ours. Thus began Operation Chuckle. The Earth Fleet maintained normal communications, music, casual conversations, even jokes, all broadcast on frequencies they knew the Valturi could intercept. No signs of fear or emergency preparations, just humans going about their daily routines, occasionally laughing about the dramatic aliens. Back on Earth, the Defense Council questioned this approach during their emergency session. You want to fight an alien armada with comedy? General Yoon asked through the subspace communication link. We're not fighting yet, Admiral Kim replied calmly. We're preventing a fight by showing we aren't afraid. Humans have historically responded to threats in 2 ways, with fear or humor. We're choosing humor. Meanwhile, aboard the Valturi, command ship, High Commander Du paced the bridge floor. His scales had dulled from stress and his crew watched him nervously. Play it again, he ordered. His communications officer reluctantly activated a recording of intercepted human transmissions. Did you hear about the alien who tried to scare humans with a speech? A human voice said. Reminded me of that theater class I took in college. Laughter followed. Du slammed his fist on a console. Why aren't they afraid? All other species feared us. What do the humans know that we don't? His second-in-command, Officer Min, approached cautiously. Perhaps we should attack now, Commander. Show them our power is real. Du shook his head. No. Something isn't right. They're too confident. He stared at the tactical display showing the human fleet. Continue monitoring all frequencies. I want to know what their secret is. Aboard the Resilience, Admiral Kim met with her intelligence team. The psychological pressure is working, Choi reported. Their communications show increasing confusion and frustration. Several of their ships have changed positions 3 times in the last day. They don't know what to do. Good, said Admiral Kim. Now for Phase 2. She turned to Engineer Kang. Is your team ready? Kang nodded confidently. The holographic projectors are in place. We can create the illusion of our fleet retreating whenever you give the order. And the real ships? We'll move into position near Saturn's rings, hidden, but ready to respond. Admiral Kim looked around at her crew. What we're attempting has never been done before. We're using psychology instead of weapons to defuse a first contact situation. If we succeed, we might prevent an interstellar war. Officer Jin raised her hand. What if they attack while we're repositioning? They won't, said Choi firmly. High Commander Du is too confused and cautious now. He won't make a move until he understands why we're not afraid. And by then, it will be too late. The next morning, Admiral Kim sent a message to the Valturi fleet. High Commander Du, we've considered your presence in our system and decided it doesn't warrant our full attention. A small contingent will remain to continue diplomatic discussions if you wish. The rest of our fleet has more pressing matters elsewhere. She nodded to Officer Kang, who activated the holographic system. On all Valturi screens, it would appear that most of the human fleet was dispersing, leaving only 3 ships behind. Now we wait, said Admiral Kim. On the Valturi command ship, High Commander Du watched the human fleet retreat with growing suspicion. They mock us again, he growled. No species has ever dismissed the Valturi as unimportant. He turned to his Gao, tactical officer. Prepare all weapons. We will teach these humans the cost of disrespect. What he didn't realize was that he was playing directly into humanity's hands. The Earth fleet appeared to scatter in all directions. On the Valturi sensors, it looked like most human ships were jumping to faster-than-light travel, heading back, toward Mars and Earth. Only 3 vessels remained in position near Jupiter's orbit, seemingly unconcerned about the massive alien armada nearby. Aboard the Valturi flagship, High Commander Do watched this retreat with narrowed eyes. His forearms twitched with nervous energy as he studied the tactical display. They flee, announced Tactical Officer Ju, unable to hide the excitement in his voice. The humans finally show the appropriate fear. Du wasn't convinced. Why leave? Any ships behind? It makes no strategic sense. His second-in-command, Officer Min, stepped closer. Perhaps they wish to save face. These 3 ships maintain the appearance of diplomacy while the rest escape. Du considered this theory. The humans had been unpredictable so far, but perhaps their bravery had limits. Maybe the sight of the reinforcement fleet had finally made them understand the hopelessness of resistance. The remaining human vessels are hailing us, reported Communications Officer Gill. On screen, Du ordered. The smiling face of a junior human officer appeared. High Commander, Admiral Kim sends her regrets that she could not say goodbye personally. Most of our fleet has been reassigned to more pressing matters. We 3 ships will remain for any diplomatic discussions you wish to pursue. The casual dismissal infuriated Do. You insult the might of the Valturi Dominion by sending your weakest vessels and lowest officers? The human officer looked genuinely confused. No insult intended, Commander. We simply have limited resources and must allocate them efficiently. When the transmission ended, Du slammed all 4 fists onto his command chair. Prepare to attack. The remaining ships show no mercy. Let their destruction be a message to their homeworld. The massive Valturi fleet moved forward, surrounding the 3 human vessels that made no attempt to escape. Energy weapons charged, glowing with blue-green light against the blackness of space. Weapons at full power, reported Officer Ju. All ships in attack formation. Fire! Commanded. Brilliant beams of energy lanced out from 50 Valturi ships simultaneously, converging on the 3 human vessels. The attacks passed directly through the ships, which flickered like candles in the wind. Direct hits. Ju announced, then frowned at his readings. No, that's impossible. No damage registered. Fire again, Du ordered. Once more energy weapons fired, and once more they passed harmlessly through the human ships, which now flickered more visibly. Holograms? Du gasped, realization dawning. Scan the entire system. Find their real fleet. But it was too late. From behind Saturn's rings, the actual human fleet emerged, having completely encircled the Valturi armada while they were focused on the decoys. 20 warships appeared on Valturi sensors, approaching rapidly from all directions. We've been outmaneuvered, whispered Officer Min. The main screen activated without the Valturi initiating contact. Admiral Kim's calm face appeared. High Commander Do. While you were focused on our holographic decoys, we've been analyzing your weapon signatures and communication patterns. We could have attacked at any time, but we still prefer talking to fighting. Du stared in shocked silence as Admiral Kim continued. You should know that we've identified weaknesses in your shield harmonics and targeting systems. A coordinated attack from our position would disable at least 60% of your fleet before you could effectively respond. Her voice remained conversational, as if discussing the weather. But we'd rather not prove it. Officer Ju frantically worked his console, confirming what the human claimed. Commander, they have optimal firing positions. Our standard defense protocols would be ineffective against a simultaneous attack from these angles. The Valturi ships, froze in position, suddenly aware they had severely underestimated human ingenuity. Du felt the confidence drain from his body, his scales dulling to a pale blue. Your tactics are unexpected, Du admitted reluctantly. We studied history before venturing into space, Admiral Kim replied. Humans learned long ago that victory often goes not to the largest force but to the most creative one. Now shall we discuss diplomatic relations between our peoples? As equals? Du looked around his bridge. His officers avoided his gaze, awaiting his decision. His empire had conquered 12 systems without firing a shot. No species had ever outmaneuvered them like this. Lower weapons, he ordered quietly. All ships stand down. After the transmission ended, Officer Min approached his commander. What will we tell the Dominion Council? We have never returned without a conquest or tribute. Du stared at the tactical display showing the human ships perfectly positioned around his fleet. We tell them we've encountered something new in the galaxy, a species that cannot be intimidated. On the UES Resilience, Admiral Kim watched the Valturi fleet power down their weapons. Her strategy had worked perfectly. By appearing to retreat, they had triggered the Valturi's overconfidence. By using holograms, they had revealed the aliens' inexperience with actual combat. Send a message to Earth Command, Kim told Communications, Officer Park. The Valturi threat has been neutralized without bloodshed. Diplomatic channels are opening. Do you think they'll honor diplomatic talks? Asked Officer Jin. Admiral Kim nodded. They have no choice. We've shown them that their usual tactics don't work against humans. Now they must either talk or fight, and they know they might lose a fight. Engineer Kang smiled from his station. Who would have thought that retreating would lead to our greatest advantage? Sometimes, Admiral Kim replied. The best way to win is to make your opponent think they've already won. The conference room aboard the UES Resilience was prepared for the first official meeting between humans and the Valturi. Admiral Kim sat at the head of the table, flanked by her senior officers. The air felt tense as they waited for the alien delegation to arrive. They've docked at Airlock 3, announced Officer Park through the intercom. Security reports 5 Valturi representatives. Admiral Kim straightened her uniform. Remember everyone, we're making history today. The doors slid open, and High Commander Do entered first. In person, he was even more imposing than on screen. Nearly 7 feet tall, his blue scales shimmered under the lights. Behind him followed 4 other Valturi, each wearing elaborate armor with different colored markings. Welcome aboard the Resilience, Admiral Kim said, standing to greet them. Please be seated. Du sat stiffly, his 4 hands resting on the table. Your invitation was unexpected. The Valturi Dominion rarely negotiates. Yet here you are, Kim replied with a small smile. We appreciate your willingness to talk. The meeting began formally, with introductions and basic information exchange. But 3 hours into the discussion, something unexpected happened. One of the Valturi representatives, a female named Ara with green-tinted scales, suddenly spoke out of turn. "Tell them the truth, Commander," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Du's head snapped toward her. "Officer Ara, you forget your place." "These humans deserve honesty," Ara insisted, her gaze meeting Admiral Kim's. "They saw through our intimidation. Perhaps they can help." A heavy silence filled the room. The human officers exchanged glances, sensing a pivotal moment. "Help with what?" Admiral Kim asked gently. Du's shoulders slumped, his usual commanding presence diminishing. After a long pause, he spoke. "The Valturi Empire is not what it appears to be." Over the next hour, the truth emerged. The Valturi Dominion was actually a confederation of subjugated species controlled by a small elite class. The blue-scaled Valturi were just one of 8 species in the Empire, but they maintained control through elaborate deception. "Most of our warriors have never seen actual combat," Du admitted. "Our conquests rely entirely on intimidation and the reputation we've built. If any species had ever called our bluff, as you did, your empire would collapse," Admiral Kim finished for him. "The ruling council sends us to find new worlds and species," explained Ara. "We're expected to return with new territories or not return at all." Lieutenant Na, who worked in communications, had been quietly monitoring his tablet during the meeting. He suddenly looked up. "Admiral, I'm detecting unusual transmissions between their fleet vessels. Some ships are communicating on frequencies hidden from their command ship." Du's scales paled. "Impossible!" Admiral Kim studied the Valturi commander. "Is there something else you haven't told us?" Ara glanced nervously at Do before speaking. "The subjugated species serve only out of fear. There have been whispers of rebellion for some time." Admiral Kim turned to Lieutenant Na. "Can you isolate these communications?" Na worked his console. "Yes, Admiral, and I believe I can establish contact with them." "Do it," she ordered. Despite Du's protests, Na opened a channel to the rebel communications. A new face appeared on the conference room screen. Another, alien species with orange scales and a single ridge down the center of its head. "I am Captain Song of the transport vessel Distant Wind," the alien said. "Who addresses us?" "Admiral Kim of Earth. We're currently in discussions with Commander Du." Song's eyes widened. "The human who laughed at the Valturi threat? Your actions have spread through our fleet like wildfire. Many wonder if this is the moment we've waited for." The revelation stunned everyone in the room. Human laughter, it seemed, had become a symbol of resistance throughout the Valturi fleet. "Your laughter was heard throughout our ships," Song explained. "It gave many the courage to question what we've been told. If humans can stand against the Valturi without fear, perhaps we can too." Do lowered his head. "I suspected something was happening among the lower ranks. I didn't realize how far it had spread." Admiral Kim looked thoughtfully at the Valturi commander. "Your empire is built on fear, Commander, but fear is a fragile foundation." "What happens now?" asked Do quietly. "That depends," Kim replied. "Are you willing to consider a different kind of relationship between your species? One based on cooperation rather than dominance?" Before Du could answer, Lieutenant Na's console beeped urgently. "Admiral, 5 Valturi ships have changed course. They're moving toward us, breaking formation with the main fleet." "Are they attacking?" asked Officer Jin, tensing. "No," Na replied, looking surprised. "They're requesting permission to dock with the Resilience. Captain Song's ship is among them." Admiral Kim turned to Du. "It seems events are moving faster than anticipated. Your crew is making their choice." Du stared at the tactical display showing the 5 ships approaching the human vessel. His empire was beginning to fracture before his eyes. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "it is time for the Valturi to learn a new way." By nightfall, 5 alien ships had officially defected, their captains joining the conference aboard the Resilience. What had begun as a tense standoff was transforming into the first steps toward revolution. A peaceful one, if Admiral Kim had any say in the matter. As the meetings continued into the night, One thing became increasingly clear. The sound of human laughter had cracked the foundation of an empire built on fear. The loyal Valturi ships moved into attack formation at dawn. 12 warships, still faithful to the old ways, positioned themselves against the 5 ships that had joined the humans. Commander Do had been declared a traitor by those still loyal to the Dominion Council. Admiral Kim watched from the bridge of the Resilience as the enemy vessels approached. "All ships, defensive positions," she ordered calmly. "Remember our strategy. Disable, don't destroy." Officer Bay looked up from his tactical station. "They're charging weapons, Admiral." "Let them fire first," Kim replied. "We need to show the difference between their ways and ours." The first energy blasts from the Valturi warship streaked across space. The Earth fleet moved with practiced precision, each vessel following the battle plan they had rehearsed. No human ship took a direct hit. "Return fire," Admiral Kim commanded. "Target propulsion and weapon systems only." The human vessels responded with carefully aimed shots. Unlike the wild barrage from the Valturi ships, each human attack hit with surgical precision. One by one, the enemy vessels lost engine power or weapons capability. On the main Valturi warship, Captain Jun, who had taken command after declaring, "Do a traitor," watched in horror as his fleet was systematically disabled without a single ship being destroyed. "They could destroy us," his second officer whispered. "Why don't they?" Jun had no answer. The Valturi way was total domination. The concept of measured response was foreign to them. Within 2 hours, the battle was over. The human fleet surrounded the disabled Valturi ships. Not one vessel on either side had been destroyed, though several Valturi ships were completely powerless, drifting in space. "Open a channel to Captain Jun," Admiral Kim ordered. Jun's face appeared on screen, his scales pale with what humans had learned was the Valturi equivalent of fear. "Have you contacted me to accept my surrender?" "No," Admiral Kim replied. "I've contacted you to offer assistance. Your ships are damaged, and your crews may need medical attention. We're sending teams to help." Jun's expression shifted to confusion. "You defeated us. By Valturi law, we are now your slaves." Admiral Kim shook her head. "Humans don't take slaves, Captain. We're offering you the same choice we offered Commander Du. Join us in building something new, or be free to leave this system in peace once your ships are repaired." The defeated captain stared silently for a long moment. "Why would you help those who tried to destroy you?" "Because that's the kind of galaxy we want to live in," Kim answered simply. When High Commander Do's flagship lost power during the battle, he was transported aboard the Resilience as a prisoner of war. Now he stood in the observation lounge, watching the repair teams working on the damaged Valturi vessels. Admiral Kim joined him silently. "Your methods are strange to us," Du said finally. "In victory, the Valturi show no mercy." "And how has that worked for your people?" Kim asked. Du turned to face her. "For generations, we have lived in fear, both the fear we cause and the fear we feel. The ruling council demands conquest and punishes failure. We in turn demand obedience from those we conquer. Fear is a poor foundation for any lasting power," Admiral Kim said. "I'm beginning to understand that," Du admitted. 2 weeks later, representatives from all 8 species of the former Valturi Dominion gathered in the large conference hall of the Resilience. What started as emergency negotiations had evolved into something more historic, the formation of a new alliance. The Treaty of Jupiter was signed on the 15th day. The Galactic Cooperative Council was established, with Earth and all former Valturi territories as equal members. Each species would maintain sovereignty over their homeworlds, while working together on trade, defense, and exploration. Commander Du, no longer bearing his military title, signed as the representative of his people. Captain Song signed for his species. 5 other representatives added their signatures, including Admiral Kim for Earth. As the dignitaries departed after the ceremony, Kim stood alone at the viewport, gazing at Jupiter's swirling clouds. Officer Yang joined her, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Quite a change from 3 weeks ago when we thought we were facing an invasion, Yang said, handing her commander a cup. Who would have thought, mused Admiral Kim, that human laughter would change the course of galactic history? It wasn't just the laughter, Yang pointed out. It was what came after. Showing strength without cruelty, winning without destroying. Kim sipped her coffee thoughtfully. I spoke with Doe earlier. The Valturi Council has been dissolved. Their homeworld is establishing a new government based on the cooperative model we developed here. And the other worlds they conquered? Already, celebrating their freedom. Doe says many of their traditions and cultures suppressed for generations are being revived. Outside the viewport, Earth's fleet prepared to escort the diplomatic vessels home. The first ambassadors had been chosen, ready to establish embassies on each world. Scientists eagerly prepared for cultural and technological exchanges. Sometimes, Kim said quietly, the most powerful weapon isn't a weapon at all but the courage to stand your ground and the wisdom to show mercy when you win. Yang nodded. Doe asked me something interesting yesterday. He wanted to know if we truly believed we could have defeated their entire fleet if it had come to all-out war. What did you tell him? I told him it didn't matter, because we found a better way to win. In the years that followed, the story spread throughout the galaxy. How humans laughed in the face of intimidation, fought with precision instead of rage, and offered friendship instead of domination. It became the foundation story of the Galactic Cooperative, a tale told on 100 worlds about the day everything changed, when an empire of fear met a species unafraid to laugh. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.